Good morning, good afternoon, good night, whatever time it is wherever you are, and whatever day you're watching this. This is our final week of how to eat fried worms, and I'm going to go ahead and warn you, Rover is in the room, and he is making lots of noises. So if you hear anything in the background, it's just Rover. Alrighty, I'm going to go ahead and start with this week's vocabulary before we read and talk about a couple of assignments this week. Our first vocabulary word is tongs. Tongs are a grasping tool made of two arms hinged together like scissors. They're the things that you grab food with. Those are tongs. Our second vocabulary word is feebly. If you do something feebly, it's with little strength. If you're very hungry, you might do something very feebly. Our third vocabulary word is defraud. If someone defrauds someone else, they trick or cheat someone, often illegally. It is not a good thing to defraud someone. Our fourth vocabulary word is concede. To concede means to admit defeat. You beat me. Our fifth vocabulary word is piccalilli. Piccalilli is a relish of chopped vegetables and spices, and usually you put piccalilli on other things. Our sixth vocabulary word is must. Must means looking messy and rumpled. Your hair might be must. A shirt could be kind of must. It's just looking a little messy, wrinkly, kind of rumpled. Our seventh vocabulary word is cistern. Cistern is an underground container for collecting rainwater. Usually a cistern is on a farm, and this is a very advanced vocabulary word. This is not a word that most adults use in daily conversation. So it's very specific to our story because it does take place on a farm. Our eighth vocabulary word is babble. To babble means to talk quickly and excitedly, sometimes in a foolish way. Think of a baby. Baby, babble. They sound similar. Babies babble a lot. It's very quickly and excited, and sometimes in a foolish way, not making a whole lot of sense. Our ninth vocabulary word is heave. To heave means to lift with great effort. And our 10th vocabulary word is smolder. When something is smoldering, it's burning slowly, usually with smoke but no flames. Think of if you've ever seen a fire and then after it kind of dies down, it's still smoldering in the ashes. So it's burning but no flames, mostly just smoke. This week you have a few mandatory assignments as usual. You have your How to Eat Fried Worms classwork. That is a Google form. It's due by this upcoming Sunday, May 10th. You have comprehension questions, as always, that go along with the chapters that we are reading this week. That is also a Google form, and it's due on Sunday. You have a study island test this week. I posted about it on Dojo last week, and I have had it unlocked for a few days. That is due by Sunday. It is only 10 questions. Super short, simple, easy, but it kind of reviews things that we've been doing since we've been in virtual learning. Remember though, all of these standards are reviews as well. We've hit every standard at this point 3 times in the school year. So this isn't anything new, nothing to trick you, just to kind of review and make sure that we've covered everything that we should. Some things that you can do this week. Also, don't forget your 2 I Ready lessons so that you can meet your goal. And I posted about goals on Dojo as well, so make sure to check that post out. You have your vocabulary study, your grammar classwork, and your writing classwork are optional assignments. And you can also work on your quarter 4 reading project. It is not due this Friday, but the next Friday. It's a tic-tac-toe choice board. You can pick Frindle, The Chocolate Touch, or How to Eat Fried Worms to do some of those activities on. I've posted the electronic copies of all of those books again on this week's Connect. So you can go back and read those books if you want to do Frindle or The Chocolate Touch. Our weekly checklist is on Connect as well as usual, so you can look and see what you need to do for all of your classes, reading, social studies, science, and math. Don't forget to do the attendance form for me, and don't forget to do the participation form for art and PE, either for me or for Miss Dubosc if you're in her homeroom. We're also going to have a survey that we post this week, and it's just your opinion. Your parents only have to do that survey one time. I'm going to be posting it multiple times, but they only have to do it one time. It's about character education, those things that we learn about every month, honesty, empathy, those things that we work on and we read some quotes about. So that's a survey that they need to fill out, but only once this week. Alrighty, let's go ahead and finish How to Eat Bread Worms. Chapters 31 through 41. Chapter 31, The Letter. Billy lifted the worm out of the frying pan with the cooking tongs and curled it back and forth on his peanut butter sandwich. "I bet they try something," he said. "Joe won't give up. Alan might, but Joe won't." Tom was carving his initials in the leg of the kitchen table. "Yeah, but it's not Joe's bet. What does he care?" "Just the same, I bet he tries something." Billy sat down at the table, turning the sandwich this way and that, looking for the best spot to take the first bite. Emily came in from the dining room. "You and Mom got a letter." Chewing, Billy opened it. Dr. McGrath sent a letter to Mrs. John Forrester. So this is his mom. "Dear Mrs. Forrester, I have just made a distressing discovery." And he kind of wrote a little something and then marked it out, and he said, "Leafing through a medical journal before going up to bed, I noticed an article entitled Poisons in the Home Garden. A subject which necessarily fascinates me. As I glanced through the article, a phrase caught my eye. Lumbricus terrestris, the common earthworm." I read on. "Mrs. Forrester, let me assure you, first of all, that there is no cause for undue alarm. However, you will, I'm sure, be concerned to learn that, especially in the months of July and August, parents must beware of the common earthworm, some varieties of which are known to secrete a substance, Lumbricus caryopsis, which, though malignant," and he's kind of making some errors here and there, which seems like he might have typed this letter very quickly, "which, though not malignant to the skin, is sometimes harmful if swallowed. Dr. A.C. Roosevelt of Hyde Park, New York, reports that 10% of the boys studied reported no ill effects except induced paralysis of the lower fulmar region. 40% reported abdominal cramping, triple vision, lasting from 2 to 3 years and impairing school performance, and extreme lassitude. Autopsy reports have not yet been received on the remaining 50%, and so no final conclusions can be drawn, but extreme caution is urged since the blackened and pimply faces of the subjects lead one to suspect the worst. Mrs. Forrester, as your friend and family physician, I would strongly recommend that your son William eat no more worms until I return on Thursday from New York City and can give him a thorough examination. Yours sincerely, Charles McGrath." Chapter 32, Croak. His hand trembling, Billy laid the peanut butter and fried worm sandwich down on the table. "Do you think—" "Wow," whispered Tom. The screen door banged. Billy's father came into the kitchen, his tie loosened, his jacket over his arm. He laid his briefcase on the table. "It's hot," he said cheerfully. Billy staggered to the sink and feebly drew himself a glass of water. Tom and Emily watched him, awestruck. "What's the matter?" asked Billy's father. Water dribbled down Billy's chin and onto his t-shirt as he drank. His mind swam. Poison? Paralysis? Extreme lassitude? "Tom," said Billy's father, "what's going on?" Tom pointed at the letter lying on the table. Billy's father read it, smiled, glanced at Billy, and, getting a beer out of the refrigerator, sat down at the table. "Well," he said to Billy, "so it fooled you, eh?" "Fooled me?" croaked Billy. Chapter 33. The 14th worm. An interesting turn of events. Was it, Dr. McGrath? But how can Alan and Joe know all those medical words, Mr. Forrester? Said Tom. Lumbricus coreopsis? Fulmar? Do you know what Fulmar really means? Tom and Billy shook their heads. It means a bird. A seabird, I think. Boy, said Billy, disgusted. He sat back down at the table and picked up his sandwich. They could be arrested, Mr. Forrester, said Tom. Couldn't they be arrested for defrauding the mails? Couldn't they? Billy grinned and bit down on the peanut butter and fried worm sandwich. Chapter 34. The 15th. Standing on a rusty pail, Billy peered through a crack into the horse barn. Joe was wandering about lashing at cobwebs with a stick. Alan was slumped on a barrel, gnawing his thumbnail. Billy went around to the door. Hi, he said. Alan didn't look up. Hi, said Joe. Billy glanced around suspiciously. Take it easy, said Joe. We concede. At least I do. He's still trying to think up something. He pointed at Alan with the stick. Where's Tom? Said Billy. He wouldn't eat his lunch, so his mother kept him in. Bucket here. Billy leaned over the platter on the orange crate and smelled the steaming southern fried worm. He wanted to load it with red pepper, said Joe, but I wouldn't let him. Billy forked ketchup, mustard, and piccalilli onto the platter, cut a piece of worm, dipped it into the glop, stuck it in his mouth, chewed nervously, swallowed, cut another piece. The worm tasted better than usual, sort of like kidney beans, southern fried kidney beans. Where'd you get this one? Down behind Bannerman's, said Joe. From the muck, yelled Alan. The muck. Gooey, slimy, stagnant muck. Billy grinned. Yeah? You'll have to show me. This is the best one yet. Alan jumped up and kicked the barrel clattering into a stall. Joe shrugged at Billy, grinning. Billy held up the last bite. Ta-ra! He swallowed it. Okay, let me look, said Alan. Come on. He peered into Billy's mouth. Oh, no, come on. There's still some stuck between your teeth there. Billy sucked noisily at his teeth. Okay. Alan's shoulders slumped. I can't get the money till tomorrow, he said. Oh, geez, you know I'll have to work Saturdays for 6 months to pay it back. He trudged slowly to the door. Coming, Joe? Yeah, maybe your father won't act so bad if I'm there when you tell him. Alan stopped in the door. Tomorrow, he said without turning. 10 o'clock? He sounded as if he was going to cry. Yeah, sure, said Billy. Make it later if you want. Nah, it's not going to do any good putting it off. Come on, Joe. Chapter 35. Burp. Left alone in the barn, Billy hugged himself. I won! I won! $50! Ah! He sat down on the crate, grinning. Heck, I knew I could do it. Huh. I was so scared at first, waking everybody up in the middle of the night. He burped. Beans. I should have made it 30 worms and $100. That stupid letter. Joe knew when he was licked, though. Jeez. Beans? He stood up. How come that burp had tasted like beans? He had a hamburger for lunch and a glass of... Do you guys hear Rover stretching? Sleepy dog. How come that burp had tasted like beans? He'd had a hamburger for lunch, a glass of milk, then the worm. Say, they couldn't have... He snatched up the platter. Nothing left, just a few crumbs of cornmeal. Craning his neck, his eyes bugging out, straining, he burped. Beans! Again, beans! He burst out of the barn, stumbling over the sill, yelling. Across the field, Joe and Alan turned. Alan started to run. Joe grabbed his arm. It was a fake, panted Billy, coming up to them. You faked it. It wasn't a real worm. Real worm? Said Joe. What are you talking about? You made a worm, yelled Billy, out of beans. Then tomorrow you were going to say I'd lost. I hadn't eaten 15 worms. The last one was fake. Oh, geez, said Alan. Come on, will ya? He didn't do it while I was around, said Joe. You sure? What did you have for lunch? A hamburger and milk. Yeah, but where'd you get the hamburger? I don't know. My mother bought it. What difference does that make? Yeah, well, a lot of the hamburger you get these days has stuff mixed in it. You know, sausage meat, soybeans, breadcrumbs. So the butcher makes more money. Yeah, said Billy. Sure. But anyway, you come on back. Just to make sure I'm going to eat another worm. Gee, suit yourself. Eat 4 more. Come on, Alan, let's go. Let him eat what he wants. Chapter 36, the 15th war. Billy threw back his head, lowered the worm. Alan charged around the door, leaped on Billy's back, flung him to the ground, punching, yelling, jumped up, grabbed Billy's feet, dragged him bump, bump, bump across the chaffy floor to the tool closet, bundled him inside, slammed the door, locked it. Silence. Water trickling into the trough outside, Alan panting. What are you going to do with him? Joe asked hoarsely from the doorway. If he's in the closet, he can't eat the worm, can he? You're crazy. He'll start to yell. His parents will hear him. Yeah? Alan's hair was mussed. His shirt tail hung out. Yeah, said Joe, eyeing him. He will. He'll start to yell, and his parents will hear him. Alan glanced wildly about, started toward the door, turned. Not if we put him down the cistern. The cistern? Joe wiped his mouth. Alan, cut it out. It's only $50. Come on, face it. You've lost. You can't put Billy down in that cistern all by himself. Suppose there's water in it. It's 15 feet deep. We can lower him down with a rope. Bang, 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 bang. Billy was kicking the tool closet door. Let me out! Help! Let me out! It's cheating! Help! I want to get out! I want to get out! I want to get out! Bang, 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 bang. He chanted rhythmically, kicking the door with both feet in time with his chant. Alan ran across the barn and, grabbing hold of a beam, skidding to a stop, began to kick aside the hay and trash that littered the He began to kick aside the hay and the trash that littered the planks over the old cistern. Bang, 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 bang. I want to get out. I want to get out. I want to get out. Come on, Alan yelled at Joe. Help me. We were all down in it last year. How's it going to hurt him? Come on. It'll work. I'll split with you. Get some rope. Bang, bang, bang. I want to get out. Chapter 37. Out of the frying pan and into the oven. On his knees, yanking at the planks that covered the old cistern, thinking, I've got him. I'll win. He'll never... Alan felt a hand grip his shoulder. Glanced up. What the devil is going on in here? Mr. Forrester shouted at him. Bang, bang, bang. I wanna... A confused babble of voices dying out suddenly. Now, said Mr. Forrester. Alan and Joe, home. Scoot. Alan and Joe crowded at the door. I've won, crowed Billy. He danced toward the platter. Nothing can... Billy, up to your room. I just gotta eat this worm, Dad. Oh, I've won. Billy, up to your room. Dad, His father pointed. Dad, if I don't eat what's left, I'll lose. Alan will win. It's just too... Now, the bet is over. You know what I've told you about that cistern. Now. Dad, I'll lose. Alan will... Then you will learn something. March. You mean I can't even eat that last little bit? How long could it take me? What could... Billy, now. Not good. Chapter 38. Billy kicked the bed. He'd won. All he'd had to do was eat 2 more bites. 2 bites. He kicked the wall. What had his father gotten so mad for? Alan had started opening the cistern, not him. Geez, he hadn't even let him explain. Twice. Twice he'd won, and then something had happened. And now he was going to lose? After all he'd gone through? Nightmares, fights, thinking he'd been poisoned, all for nothing? He kicked the bed. Chapter 39. The United States Cavalry rides over the hilltop. Mrs. Forrester, said Tom, peering through the screen door. Could I see Billy for a minute? He's up in his room being punished, Tom. He and Joe and Alan were very naughty this afternoon. Yeah? Said Tom. No kidding. What'd they do? Chapter 40. The 15th Worm. Billy kicked the wall again. 2 minutes. What difference could 2 minutes have made? He leaned his forehead against the window pane, gazing dejectedly out into the backyard. That's what always happened. Somebody, Tom's younger brother Pete, appeared suddenly around the corner of the house, running, holding up a little yellow Easter basket, gesturing. The worm. Tom. Pete had brought him a worm. The 15th worm. Billy slammed up the window. Catch, yelled Pete. Hurry, Tom's talking to your mother. He heaved a brick with a string tied to it up to Billy. Billy caught it, hurled the string up, hand over hand. The basket came bobbling up the side of the house. Alan and Joe plunged out of the bushes. Billy snatched the tin can out of the Easter basket, plucked out a huge squirming nightcrawler. Mrs. Forrester! Mrs. Forrester! Alan and Joe shouted at the top of their lungs, dancing about on the lawn, waving their arms. Mrs. Forrester! Mrs. Forrester! Too late! Yelled Billy gleefully. Throwing back his head, he dropped the squirming nightcrawler into his mouth, chewed and chewed. Pete throwing the brick. Tom and Mrs. Forrester appeared around the corner of the house. Too late, Billy yelled, still chewing. Too late, I win. He disappeared from the window. A door slammed inside the house, a trampling on the stairs. He burst out the kitchen door, a flying leap off the back steps. He rolled, scrambling up, yelling, I win, I win, I win, and grabbed Tom's hands. They danced round and round and round, Pete cavorting beside them. Joe and Alan slunk off through the bushes. Round and round and round. Billy's mother laughed and went into the kitchen. Round and round and round, till they collapsed on their backs in the grass. I win, gasped Billy to the blue, cloudless sky. I win. Chapter 41. Epilogue. An epilogue is like what happens after. Prologue is what happens before. Billy leaned the mini bike against a tree and started down the path through the woods. Looks like he won. Tom and Joe were already sitting by a smoldering trash fire on the riverbank opening their lunch bags. Where's Alan? At the store? Asked Billy, flopping down by Tom. Yeah, said Joe. He's still got 2 weeks to go. What have you got for lunch? Asked Tom. Billy looked embarrassed. Worm and egg on rye? Heck, said Tom. Why can't you ever bring something somebody else likes so you can trade? Billy frowned. He opened his lunch bag. I don't know. I just can't stop. I don't dare tell my mother. I even like the taste now. He scratched his head. Do you think there's something the doctors don't know? Do you think I could be the first person who's ever been hooked on worms? And that is the end. An interesting turn of events. He won, but was it what he expected it to be? What were the consequences of him winning? Who was the real winner in the end? Was there a real winner in the end? Was the mini bike worth him eating worms for lunch and hiding it from his mom because he likes the taste so much? Lots of questions to ask. Pretty funny little book, these crazy boys. Our classwork this week is on Connect, as well as your other optional assignments if you want to do those. Don't forget about your Study Island assignment. Go ahead and get that done. 10 questions, super quick. If you have any questions, please let me know on Dojo. I'll be on Zoom at 8 on Monday morning and 12:45 on Friday afternoon. I hope to see you in one of those sessions. If not, I hope to see you very soon. Stay safe and have a great week.